no issues. So, but they still calling home saying, so telling me this, and I'm like, well, what's the problem? Well, he's bored. And I'm like, okay, well, if he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, he's bored. Like, what do you? But the thing is, he knows that they lying and they're not telling the truth. So whatever information that they've given, he wants to be able to say what the truth is, but he can't. You know, and now he's having problems with that. Like like if they're talking about, you know, the quote unquote states and being here, and no, he wants to let them know, like, those are corporations. They don't really exist. So, but he can't say that, so he's just quiet. You know, so it starts putting a toll on me. You know, like, I can't keep sending him there. You know, even though nothing's going on, they're not forcing him to do none of that Negro, colored, black. But himself, he's not advancing because all that stuff they teaching is crap. So if anything, that's going to be, that's the bigger problem that I have than anything. Like, the school was easy. Him waking him up, and I know that he knows, like, oh, here we go again. Like, that's exactly how he looks. Like, he doesn't look like, oh, something's wrong, or because I asked him, like, something going on at school. No, it's all right. And I'm like, so what's wrong? Oh, I'm just bored. But when you come home, you know, and he's listening to us doing class, and, you know, he's asking questions in the back, and, you know, I have to tell the grand sheik, hold on real quick so I can explain to him, you know, because he wants to have his separate class too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm explaining to him, grabbing dictionaries, and then I'm picking back up the phone, doing class with the grand sheik, because my son wants to know. Like, I remember he asked grand sheik, was the Moabite slave masters?
Yeah.
And we went into class for like a half hour on that one question. You know what I mean? He not like school. You talking about George Washington? My son ready to tell you he was the ninth president. Ready. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the issue that I see mostly happening overall, was not the school per se, was now how am I going to teach him? Because he's not accepting that BS anymore. So now I got to step my game up.
For real. Sis, you had any questions with regard to that? Just ask whatever you want right now.
So I guess so. It's just the most important thing I gotta say is just making sure you put the right people on notice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you this, Yusuf. When you talk about the notice, you were talking about the Ritz class that everybody should watch. Just talk about that and the experience from using that as a reference, opposed to whoever else out there saying that they got some consultation, they could teach you how to do something.
Yeah, good thanks for that, Grand Sheik. Now it's a class from Brother Fontaines and Mother Anna Need, where it's from years back. It's on Blog Talk Radio. It's called, if you go on Google and type in Blog Talk Radio, Power of Ritz, just like that, Blog Talk Radio, Power of Ritz, it'll pop right up. It's Mother Fontaines and Mother Anid and Brother Fontaines. And he goes in on the power of Ritz, like, crazy how powerful Ritz can be. And like, cause I took his example when he was saying to take their picture. Like, so what I did, for example, I took my son's executive director of the school, I took his picture and put all the things that he was doing or allowing to happen in his place of business right underneath him. And then when I put everybody on notice of what he was doing, you know, because I got all of that from the power of Ritz. And then that alone, you know, sending 20 Ritz out a week, seeing, you know, 15 people, you know, like, it becomes crazy. But, you know, that's my son, you know, I was going to do it, you know, and I did it. It worked beautiful, you know, nationality is the order of the day. Once I seen that, like, okay, these because Europeans, I realized they always worried about their image. You know, so once you go after their image, you know, now their background check, like there's another video from brother Mariano L. Bay. It's a perfect video. He says the title is called I think it's called do them like they do you and tell on them or something like that.
Yeah.
Because like that's like when they do background checks on us and they go on the internet and all of that, they type our names in and they do background checks. If you did that to them and put a profile of them online, and when they go get a job or whatever, and they go do a background check, and that profile picture pops up of what you created, that hurts them. That's what hurts them. That's their image. Now they're walking around like they're looking like felons. Now, same thing that they would do to our people, we do to them. Put a profile picture up on them and put all the charges that they did to you or your son or daughter, or you don't even have to do that. Just take their picture and put, take the picture and put the rights of a child right underneath them. Like, these are your duties. You know what I mean? This is what y'all supposed to be doing here at your establishment. Here's your picture. You know, that was, could you imagine it? Like, that was big time to me when Brother Pontier said that. Like, take their picture and put it in your ring. And when you see, like, that holds power, you know. And they love, and I remember in The Power of Rich, too, like, I remember Mother Annie was saying, like, if you write it, because, you know, as Moors, we dealing with spelling, casting spells. So if you write it, the power and the energy behind it is more powerful than when you're going to type it or write it on, or you know, put it on the computer and print it out. That's what I found out was even better too. Like when I was handwriting the writs to the school, and then because I was thinking like that wasn't professional, I should be typing it, but I was thinking too hard because you remember when you was little, your mom used to write you little notes for the teacher all the time. And whatever your mom wrote, it would work. So it's the same thing. You know, nothing changed, but my positioning and who I was, my status. I know who I am, and I know that's a business. And they don't have rights to do anything to my child. And once that clicked in my head from Mother Annie, Mother Roz Mariah, and Brother Fontaine, like, if you go to Walmart, somebody in Walmart Blue Vest can't take your child and go put them in timeout because they was ripping and running to Walmart. That can't happen. But because we listen, now we have in our mind because they in school, they can do that. That's not school. That's another place of business. That's still Walmart. They can't do that. They can't do that.
Oh yeah, and just update. I don't know if it is how it is in other territories. Here, they still pray principle. But say that thing you were talking about with the.
Yeah, Islam. Now they have here. There's no more principles. That's how we supposed to have. That's why I keep saying my son's executive director, the school's executive director, because that's how I know they're dealing with business. They just took away principles. We just have an executive director. I said that's business. They don't even hide it. His title is executive director, and I'm like, y'all don't even hide the business anymore. They don't even hide it. They telling you this is business. There's no more. Well, out here, there's no more. They're getting rid of the principles. Now everybody has to have an executive director. It's insane.
We still have principles in our territory.
Yep.
Right now, we still have principles. But with the right, so where would I find the information to look up for the rights of the child? Rights of the child.
They have you can type in rights of the child, and then at the end of it, put in RV Bay Publications, and it'll send you right to it. It'll bring you right to the they got a PDF of it, right in RV Bay Publications. I don't remember which one it's in. That's why I always would just type in rights of the child and put RV Bay Publications right in next to it, and it brings you straight to the link.
Thank you.
And there's other documents in there too. You know, they got all of them in there. Rights of a child, human rights, rights of indigenous people. Like, you put them on notice about all that applies to your child. All of that. They can't, all of that. And first thing I did was, I did a name correction at my son's school for him. I even did that. Now, that's why I'm, okay, this is where us being Moors come into place very well. And I'm glad you're the mother on the phone. Now, I did the name correction as his father. As his father. I did it. Now, his mother, they asked her about the name correction. Now, because this was years ago and we were brand new, my Moabite at the time wasn't all the way in with it. So when I did the name correction, when they called her in, when my Moabite went in there and they talked to her about it, and she shut it down, that name correction was gone. They did not want to call my son by who his title was because it's all for the mother. If whatever she say, whatever she wants to happen, that's what's going to happen because she's the mother. That's why, like, whatever, you're the mom, so you're going to be even way more powerful than me. I had to fight, crawl, and every time I did it, I would have to come back home and beg my Moabite, if they call you, please accept it. I know you don't know too much that I know, but you have to let it go because they denying us our rights because we keep calling each other, they were colored black. And she did get that part, but she didn't know as much as I knew, you know, with the dumbing down of our children exclusively, you know, like she didn't know all of that. But now, years later, now she do know. So now, you know, with the name correction and everything is proper now. But as you being the mother, everything should be flying with you, not a hold up or a wait. We're gonna contact his mother, like, and they were contacting her like we weren't even together. Like that's my mom. We lived together, we've been together 13 years. You know what I mean? I'm like, you still gonna, but because we're matriarch, and they know that. They know that whatever the mom is gonna do, if she said something different, it wasn't gonna go down. It wasn't gonna go down. So that's why I'm glad that the mother's on the phone right now because it's gonna be even smoother for you because you're the mom. As a father, and I'm trying to do it. They fought me, nail and tooth. Every time I would go in there, they'd be like, yep, yep, and then when my Moabite go in there, whatever she said was gonna happen. You being the mother, it's gonna be very easy.
And then that respect and honor and all that stuff that they have for you already is just gonna be exemplified. Because really it's about you and the children doing it. They already know how we get down.
Yeah.
You know, this is even that same thing with, you know, you hear sisters asking, so where's the Moorish woman and all that stuff? You know.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because my mom said it all the time. Like she's like, how come I always just see men? How come I don't see more Moorish women? I was like, because you're not looking. You're not. It's us out here, but I guess she don't see a lot of more active Moorish women, and I guess is what her issue is.
Right.
She's like, how come I don't see how? And then like when I with my parents, she really don't understand. She's like, I just really don't understand. Why do you have to have that on? And I'm like, I try to explain it to her, like try to break it down to her. And like I even gave her, because I have the lesson book from Artie's Education, I actually let her read the lesson book, like so she can read it, like so it's not coming from me. You can see where it's coming from someone else. And I guess it's not just clicking with her. And that I guess I don't understand it because like my 4-year-old daughter, she's 4, but she understands that she's a more like
exactly.
I told her that her name is Alana. When she go to daycare, she comes on to me and be like, Mama, they don't know my name. They keep calling me Alana Bankhead, and my name is Alana Bay.
Exactly.
She literally comes there. I'm like, yes, babe. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell them that your name has changed.
Right,
like, she's 4.
But then remember,
her name is Alana.
But remember what Brother Yusuf was just talking about too, that the let them know is not going in there, tell them something. The let them know is send them some writs. Bet you they start calling her that name tomorrow. No questions asked. Right? And again, it's not because we know we're Moors and you gotta do this or you gotta do that. Just no. The international law says that these are the rights that the child are due. And I'm sure your little corporation stands by these rights right here. You know, but the problem is that most of the time, when they deal with our people, our people aren't dealing with them on those levels. So they can do their color of law and get away with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like even there's Moors even out here, that all they did was take the step to send a writ to the superintendent just to let them know. They gone to the school, stuff changed. They're not dealing with them the same anymore. They don't deal with them like how they deal with everybody else. You know, it's not a thing of, you know, because they try to always, like what your family's doing, play like they don't know, or try to show you some negative thing of this and say why you doing this.
Yep.
You know, but if your 4-year-old could get this, then these grown-ups have no excuse. Personally, this is what I say.
Right.
You know, like right now with my niece, trying to bend her out because they're trying to bend her into the black, accepting the black, whatever. You know, and every time she writes down something with the black, they say, "Hey, remember, just look at yourself. So if you forget, just remember. In case you forget, just look at your hand. Just remind yourself." You know, because it's crazy how you know how the dumb down is real, but it's more crazy in adults. Because even in whatever generation it is, we could present that colorable question to them about, if they're black, then what do you look like? What color is your skin if you're black? And they'll look at you like, yeah, they're stupid or whatever because they're really brown. But once you start getting with trying to convince some adults about this, we already lost.
Yeah.
You know, let these children know. It's their time now. If we get something, yay, congrats. We got to do something with our Moorish nationality and birthrights. But it's all about them doing something with it.
Yep. The older ones be stuck in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed. They, you know, they have what they have, and they're not trying to give that part too. You know, I see a lot of that. Like, I'm not. If they accept the truth that you just gave them, they have to react. They got to do something about that. They can't just sit there and be docile. Now they got to be active, and some people don't want that. So they'll deny, just so they don't have to do something. Because like my like she said, your 4-year-old get it. My 10-year-old get it. You know, they get it. That's how I'm like, well, if the children get it, that means somebody's lying. Cause that's how I'm like, nah, man, my son, he's 10 years old. And he'll tell you, 2 and 2 is 4. Black is not a nationality. Yeah, I'm like, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's simple. 2 and 2 is 4. Black is not a nationality. That's right. That's right. You can't change that. You can't change that ever.
I just want to read an excerpt. You just read an excerpt from Truth About Your Birthrights. Truth About Your Birthrights. You can get that at RV Bay Publications. Of Inalienable Rights, page 7. Inalienable rights emanate from and are manifested at birth. Such rights are divine in character and common to the living, breathing species called man. Islam. You hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Inalienable rights emanate from and are manifested at birth. Such rights are divine in character and common to the living, breathing species called man. Governments are erected and formed to secure and protect those pre-existing birthrights. Inalienable rights are those rights which are not transferable to another and are not alienable. Birthrights arrive from this origin and point in life and not from governments. To preserve and to protect these inalienable rights, governments are formed. Thus, from civilized nations comes national and international laws which address these matters. This applies to all of us who are part of a civilization as we move upon the waters of the earth, traveling and multiplying. Of history and reconstruction. Throughout time, records and documents have been created or constructed that affirms universal principles of right law, of justice, and of natural, inalienable rights. In these modern days, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, is one of those impacting international documents. The Declaration of the Rights of the Child is another international document of laws which are presented to humanity to acknowledge and preserve those inalienable rights. As an example, see Principle 3 of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The child shall be entitled from his birth to a name and a nationality. So even though we're looking at these corporate entities, they have a certain obligation to justice, regardless whether they're corporate, whether they're quasi, whether they're constitutional. They have an obligation to certain things, and our thing is to call them on their obligation and then see what they do. And then again, when you call them on their obligations, you're CCing 15, 20 people. So a few people know about this fraud that you found out. That you're not some conspiracy theorist or whatever like that. You're using international law to show that this is why I'm saying these people are corrupt. Or why, I don't want my children learning Black history, whatever. Because I live near a Black community, and so those people are crazy over there. I don't want my children being brought up around that. I don't see any yellow communities around here that people are worried about, or white communities or nothing like that. So, and you just deal with them how you would deal with anybody that tried to violate your child or your offspring or your heirs, and always remember keeping the lesson in mind about us not being Negro, black, colored. So if we are talking to them, even if it's written, that it's in an intelligent tone.
Yep. Don't let them trick you out of what you're doing. You know what you're doing is de jure. If they try to trick you out of it, just know if someone's trying to trick you out of what you're doing, which is de jure, that's a criminal. Because I'm gonna give you an example. When I went in there, now what they'll do is like my son's the executive director of the school was a European, modern European. Now he's the executive director. The whole time I'm supposed to be talking to him, explaining to him what's going on. He has a Moor there right next to him who's supposed to be mediating, and he's the one that's doing all the talking. Mm-hmm. The Moor is the whole time, and you know, I'm still going back and forth until the part where this is where they'll try to get you. The Moor said to me, he goes, "Why are you doing this now?" And it hit me. I was like, he's working for the other side. And then that's when I already knew. I'm like, dang, man, my own would do me. Like, why would you ask that question? What do you mean, why am I doing this now? Like, what do you mean, why? Like, it's the right thing to do. Like, you guys have been breaking the law for years. I just noticed that you were breaking the law. Now I'm here to check that. Sure like, but no. I'm not. What do you mean? Why? And they'll still hit you with stuff like that, little lines like that, and then they have you sitting there puzzled, like, yeah, why am I doing it? What do you mean? Why am I doing this? No, you don't puzzle. Look, right now, you guys are criminals. Yeah. There's no why am I doing this now? Like, what do you mean? It's just like, you know, like the so-called you've been raping this person for years, and then now they called you out about it, and you're standing there like, well, why are you saying something now? Like, what do you mean? Why are you saying you were doing me wrong for years? It doesn't matter when I said it. You know what I mean? Like, and now they complaining because you said something now about it. Like, no, you guys are criminals, been criminals, and now I'm bringing it to the light. So be careful. And like I said. It wasn't the European that did it. He let my own do that to me. Because the European was just sitting there quiet. Every time I would say something, looking at the European, the Moor would say something. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what was going on. Every time I would say something to the European, the Moor would say something. And I'm like, why are you? And then it clicked. And I'm like, okay. Once I got home and I started looking at it, you know, like, oh, dang, man, they'll do anything for master. Yeah. That's their God. That's their God. Yeah. And, you know, watching, you know, sellout videos and the boulets and stuff like that. I'm like, man, these people do anything to keep their master in charge, in head. Like, I'm like, yo, that's crazy, bro. Like, you're my people. And I'm sitting here telling them, like, we're Moors. We're not Negro, colored, black. You know, and the more he's hearing that, his response to it was, why are you doing it now? Mm-hmm. He didn't deny it. He just want to know, why am I doing it now? That's when I knew the sellout was real. I'm like, so you know we're Moors too. They all know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't let them discourage you, make you think, oh no, oh we don't do that here. You don't do what here? Like this is a place where, like, I came to McDonald's and you don't sell Chinese food. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the law. The law is everywhere. Like, damn, what is you talking about? Oh, we don't do it. And they'll hit you with a line like that. Oh, we don't do that here. What? What do you mean? You guys don't follow the law here? That's why, again, I love to deal with the rich. Like, because I don't have to hear dumbness like that. Like, I don't want to
hit them with a rich. Go ahead, Moore.
Islam.
Yeah, go ahead, Moor.
Yeah, like they don't want to. The person who's working at the desk too, they don't know nothing. They just at work. They don't know nothing. So you dealing with them at the desk, the clerk at the desk, to try to put the school on them. That clerk don't know nothing. They just a receptionist at a desk. They don't know nothing either. The people who do know is that school board and that principal and that executive director. And they know that you left a paper trail and that you done CC'd a bunch of people and that you're not playing. They respect that. They don't respect all that neck jerking, coming in here loud talking. They'll that's going out the door. They'll wait for you to, you done doing all that yelling? You tired now? Yeah. Well, all right, go home. And nothing, you did all that yelling and nothing got done. As soon as you left, they went in there and your son was still getting nigger education. Still getting the dumb down. Still not getting nothing. Even though they're not giving my son the correct, because we already know the General Education Board philosophy. Their job is not to make men of thinking. So we know that. That's their job, is to not make men of thinking, not to make philosophers. And so I know that we need to help and get some schools for our children. Because we can do all of that, putting them on notice, but they told you our job is to make sure your children don't think. Like, you can send all the rich you want, but remember what you signed your child up for. They got the flyer out. They told you what we doing in here. Just like you get a flyer to go to a party. They're going to tell you what the party is about. We read the flyer. Oh, they're going to have this. They're going to have that. The public school system, they got their flyer out. It's called General Education Board philosophy. And if you read the philosophy and you want your children to come to that, well, by all means, welcome. By all means. And that's why we need our own schools. That's why we need our own schools. I don't like sending my son there, but due to the rest and corrosion, you do I don't want the so-called state knocking on my door. People start thinking like that. I know that's how my Moabite think. But me, I'm like, no, there's no state knocking on the door. There's somebody knocking on the door. Not no state. I'm looking at somebody knocking on my door, asking about my son. Now I'm upset. That's all I see. I don't see who you work for. Brother, you on my porch asking me about my son. Who are you? Who are you? Don't talk to me about nothing. But our people got to get to that level. So they be still operating on fear. If you still doing fear, we need our own schools, but people still scared. We got to get past that part. People still scared to take their children out of them European schools because they don't want the headache. But I tell you what, the Europeans, they know the truth, and they do homeschooling immediately. They hope somebody come to their house.
Now, is that because we see that other nations have their children in those schools? So is it a thing where you think, like from the parent perspective, is it a thing where you think there has to be our own schools, or could it be the teacher, the parents could do enough at home,
right,
in the off time of the school? Because if they gotta go, I mean, pretty much, with the way, if we're looking at everybody take their children out of school, then their children really are only going to school because that's going to be the new daycare.
Yep. Yes.
So they send them there. They do whatever they do in the day, but then after that, there's a strict regimen to reverse whatever program went in. Like what?
Right.
I don't know if both of you could talk on that.
And to add, yep, because you're right, Grand Sheet. And plus, you know, what we do with our children, though, our children get out of school and now they can go play video games. Or they got, you know, we don't do like the other nations do when they come home. Yeah, you can play your video games, but you got to do 3 hours of declassifying, you know, getting rid of that BS that you just got being in school. So they're going to make sure being home before you do anything, you're going to make sure that you get this true lessons. They still going to deal with their national principles. They're going to get those true and exact lessons. Like, that's why I'm glad you brought it up. Like we said earlier, Grand Sheet, my son, when he come home, he listen to Canaanland Moors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's 2-3 hours right there. And then he'd be like, once class is over, he'd be like, Daddy, I can go upstairs, and he want to go play with his cousins or something like that. But he, like we said, enough being, of course, I know for a fact, just him being home for those couple hours studying, he learned so much in those couple hours. Because as soon as I was like, well, how was that place? When he gets off the bus and comes from school, so-called school, we don't call it school, we call it that place. I say, how was that place? And he goes, oh, it was all right. And I tell him, no, he says good. He goes, good. And I told him one day, I said, when you get off that bus, don't say that word no more. I want a new word. So when you get home, tell me something different. Tell me what really happened. So the next day I asked him, how was school? He said, good. And then he continued. He said, it was good for the lies they was telling. I said, now look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. You know what I mean? And this the fourth grader.
Yeah, you get it.
So when he comes home and he's getting that truth, you know, I play the game with him. He comes home, I do the compare and contrast. I said, who got more books, me or your school? And I said, his school. He said, oh, we have more books than the school, Daddy. I said, that's right. That's right. I have more. My library is bigger than the school's library. So when he come home, he's studying. You know, everything is, well, go look it up in the dictionary. Go look it up in the dictionary. Yeah. You know, so he knows what words mean.
Yeah, he's not playing that just as something they're saying. He's gonna go look for real.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, and like that's a perfect example, Grand Sheet, how you was just saying. Is that couple of hours with them coming home studying, is that helping? Now, I didn't learn how to read etymology in the dictionary. You know how we looking in the brackets and find it. I didn't learn that till I was 30. Yeah. My son knew that. Yeah, exactly. My son knew that when he was 6. You know what I mean? He's 10 now. You know, so like
a big difference.
Right. You know what I mean? I'm like, not only is it working, they're going to be better than us by the time he's 17. Yeah. He's going to be better than me at 17. Because look, if he started at 4, right? You know what I mean? If he started at 4, by the time he's 17, that's 13 years into the information. Yeah. Look how I am now and only knew about who I am going on 6 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? By the time he's 17, they got a problem with my son. They're gonna have a problem with him. Yeah. Because he's already looking at stuff foreign. You know, like license. Why they gotta get a license, Daddy? They not doing any business. Like his thought is different. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm looking it to the point where it takes me a second to think. I'm like, why are you talking about business? I'm like, oh yeah, license is for business. It takes me a second to get it. He's just talking regular. He's just talking regular on the fly. You know, and he's 10. Like, why do you have to get a license to travel if you're not doing business? Like, why did they get that, Daddy? And I'm like, looking at my Moabite the one who has the license. You know, like how do you want me to answer this? You want me to tell him the truth? You want me to make something up? Like, how do you want this to happen right now? Because I don't want you to look bad. You're the mother. You know, like that's what my son is looking at it. Like, you know, but that's the thing too, because he knows. Like, because I explained to him the whole history. You know, he knows. He even, if you ask my son, well, how did the Moors fall? Because they didn't love each other. I said, like, it's that simple. Like, he doesn't, we don't have to go into the wars and all of that, because we know why you go into war, because you don't love each other. He knows. Why are we living like this? Because we don't love each other. I don't have to put the whole under threat, duress, and corrosion. The Europeans came over here. If we loved each other, it'll be fine. That's the problem.
Shit.
You know, and I explain that to him that way. If we love each other, because because my son, he knows it. It's not a color game. That's fraud. It's a human thing. And as humans, we need to love each other better than what we are, and the stuff will be working better.
True.
And he sees that. He already knows. We fell because we didn't love each other. Simple. You don't have to get the whole and he know this Morocco. Oh, how? He'll tell you how. How you born there? That's a corporation. You can't be born in Walmart. He talk just like us. 10.
Know thyself. Know thyself.
That's what I said. So if he gets detained while traveling and they ask him license and registration, he's gonna literally tell them, like, "Wow, I'm not doing any business. What's going on?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he knows that. He knows that those are highwaymen. All officers must be voted for. He knows that. 10 years old, they're gonna have a problem. You know, that's why the prophet is who he is, because that's a prophecy. He told you this is for the young and young unborn, and I'm witnessing it. I'm watching my son literally foreign to the things that we think we have to have. He's foreign to it. He's like, when I mean foreign to it, like when a foreigner comes over here and they're learning our language, but because we talk slang, they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. So the way he knows what words mean, you sound foreign to him. The way you use that word in the sentence, like that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you sound like a foreign. Like, that didn't make sense. Like, why'd you say that like that? Like, that's how he was looking. Because he don't, and that's where it's. I already see the prophecies for the young and young born. Oh, we're gonna get our stuff back because, you know, us waking up now, the children getting it. You know, the third and fourth generations who the prophet talked about, we're having the babies now who was supposed to be 4 at 4. The babies is coming now. They growing up, pushing the old Moors to the back.
Carrying out the law.
Yep.
Shit.
What I would say, my daughter, she hasn't started school yet, but bro, I was on the mindset thinking of like Brother Yusuf. I was thinking I was going to send her to school because I didn't want the state knocking on my door, questioning, harassing me like why she's not in school. But then he just brought up a good point. That's just thinking off of fear, because that's not really the state coming to knock at my door. It's just somebody coming to knock on my door. So that was really what my main concern was, like getting her prepared to go into that setting. How would I operate on getting her prepared or going into that corporate setting? Because like I said, I was thinking in the mindset of fear of not wanting them coming knocking on my door, like, because you know once you hit that age limit of 5, they're expecting to be registered to school.
Yep. And yep. I'm sorry.
And that's my whole mindset. That was my whole mindset thinking, like I don't even want to, like, I guess because I'm still in my mindset of me still studying, and I I'm 27, and I'm just still learning how to read the etymology in the dictionary, and I haven't fully grasped it yet. You understand? So it's like me still learning. It's like I guess I can't really teach her yet until I kind of feel it. Me thinking I can't really kind of teach her until I kind of grasp it yet. Or I got a full over understanding of what I'm learning until I won't be able to better to teach her. So now that you bring it to my attention, I have to get out that mind frame and think differently because I guess I'll be able to operate differently.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Once you and you gotta remember too, like, cause I love using little examples to help me get through the quest. Like, cause if you remember all them people when you was growing up, all them people used to skip school, not go to school, and people the state will go knock on their mom's door, and the daughter be in the room. I ain't going to school. I ain't going nowhere, and they gotta leave. I remember that happening in the house I used to live in. The lady downstairs, they used to come to our house every day because her children didn't go to school. And then, I'm not saying this will happen to you, but they did try to do that kidnap her child thing. They kidnapped that little girl. That little girl ran away and came back home the next day. What are you talking about? I'm going home. What is you like? I'm not staying here. This ain't my house. I live over here. I know where I live at. I know who my mom is. I'm going home. And that little girl went home. That little girl went home, and I see her now, because this was years ago. I see her now. She got her little husband, got her daughter and her son, but she did not go through that system. She didn't go through that school either. I ain't saying she's the smartest girl or anything like that, but I witnessed it on the scale of they don't even know what we knew, and they was exercising birthright.
For real.
And fear out the what? Fear? That mom was worried about the next 1st and the 15th check that was coming in. They're not even thinking about it. They're not even thinking about the fear. The fear. They just worried, don't mess my check up. But because of what we know and how we looking at it, we get scared. That's how I'm like, but the person who don't even know, like there's people out here who be like, I don't know how Moors, get rid of their licenses and, just right to travel. There's people out here who ain't never even had a license, who got a suspended license and still, but don't know what we know, the exercising birthright. It's just because we know what we know, and then we start getting scared. The brain is crazy sometimes the way it works. Because I'm like, man, it's just your thoughts that have you scared like that, because it's not what it is. My mom, I remember I was telling my mom about my license situation and how I don't do that license, and she reminded me. She was like, boy, I didn't have a license your whole life you was growing up. I used to just bring y'all to the corner store over there, go grocery shopping over there, and sneak back home. And she was like, and y'all never even knew it. I looked at my mom. I said, you ain't have a license? Left my mind that you ain't have to have one. And I'm looking at this lady like, why would you ride around with this kid, And then she was like, ain't nothing wrong with you. You're all alive. You know what I mean? Everybody's here. And I'm like, exactly. Yeah. And she didn't even know about birthright or nothing, but exercising it. We just put it in our head, and then we start suffering because we made this thing up in our head. You made it up.
Yeah.
You created the fear, and it was never there. It was never even there. So that's what. Like, ain't nobody even want to come knocking on your door. You put them people on notice. Ain't nobody coming to your house. And if they do, they're gonna do it like the Brother Fontes. They come in and check on you to make sure you're okay. Are you all right? That's what they're going to be coming to your house for. Is everything okay over here?
Yeah.
Well, you have a good night, Miss Bay or Miss L Bay.
All right.
They're not gonna, especially like what the prophet said, because this is a divine and national movement. If you're being divine, with everything we doing, what you're doing, oh, it has to work. It's not, oh, this gotta work. It has to work. It's just gonna fall right in your hand. Whatever it is. Your ancestors is right there. They already know. Okay, she knows she's good. Well, whatever she would like, she can do. Because she's being divine with hers. And I learned that from experience.
Yep.
So if you're going around being macho, chest bumping,
500 for a consultation and all that, you're the Moor that everybody should learn from and all that.
Yep.
You kind of lost it. You fell off the path. You fell off the path along the way somewhere. You're in the bushes right now. You need to humble yourself and get back home.
Yep. Because I got humbled.
Humbled. Quick, fast. The humblings are good, though. The humblings are good. You know?
Humblings are the best. You learn so much. Sometimes you want to go through them so you can learn. I learned a lot going through my humbleness. But then you can just tell other Moors, you know what I mean? So they ain't got to go through what you went through.
Right. And then that's where the Holy Covenant and all that comes in.
Yep.
That's the whole point of even something like this. That Moors just build with each other. We don't need anybody like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. I was building with Mother Miriam, who does the knitted fezzes. And she was talking about how she should be able to get everything that she wants from a Moor. That there shouldn't be having to go outside to get anything. And then it's only because Moors aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Which is why you can't go to a Moor to get anything you want. You know, Jew boys go into only Jew boys. They don't shop with anybody else. Chinaman's going to Chinaman only. They don't go to anybody else.
See it every day.
Every day. So we have obligation to each other on a level because of the covenant and certain things. You know. But if we're not seeing it like that, then we don't have it.
Yep.
You got any other questions, sis? I know you're filled up.
One question. In regards to, so like, say if for your employer, if you like need a driver's license for your employer, how would you operate with doing? Would you want to get a driver's license in your free natural name, or would you just use the driver's license that you had in the straw name?
Yeah, so opposed to different strokes for different folks. Many ways to skin the cat. Okay. All that type of stuff there, right? So there's Moors who have the license because they are engaging in commerce, even though it's for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? But, the license is part of, this load that I'm carrying being insured in case something happens. It might not be me. Right?
Right.
So why would I, free right to travel with somebody else's load worth 20 million and it not be insured or it not be protected, right? Then there's Moors who they say both. So yeah, I got the quote unquote license, but I'm still a free national. That's not who I am. That's a corporate entity for corporate activity. And that license is for this corporate entity and I'm the holder in due course. I'm the authorized representative of this fictitious entity. But I'm, you know, nationality card is who I am. That's just for doing that. You know.
Okay.
And then of course the angle of having the free national name on the license. Like that's also an angle. Because there's Moors who go that way and they get tickets dismissed the same way as if the Moor who says, you know, I never gave them a license. You know, it's just that there's so many ways to skin the cat that, you know, people could turn opportunists with dumb people and sell them ideas of doing stuff that's really common sense if you really think about it. You have anything to add on, Brother Yusuf?
Just to add on to what the Green Sheep was saying too, because you have, like me, for example, I like to call myself I coined it for me. I'm not saying other Moors should do it, but I call myself a rebel Moor because I'm strictly I'm not saying do what I do. I'm saying do what you do that's going to make you comfortable. Because I only have free national identification. I don't have any of their corporate things. But then again, I don't work for any of their corporations and nothing like that. Like I work for me. You know, so I have my own self-sufficiency going on. So I can do me, but it's very hard. Don't think it's easy. It's hard. It's easier just to, you know, get their ID, reserve your rights, and get the job. But I looked at it in the longer, at the end, it's still not working out because I'm not being able to give my son something after when I leave. That I don't see me working at a warehouse for 30 years. How my son was going to inherit the warehouse. So like I don't, you know, I'm not denying people working or nothing like that. I just hope that their end goal is to be. I'm using this as a stepping stone to be self-sufficient. You know, you're using the notes or whatever so you can be out of here and be self-sufficient. Because that's basically what I did. I was at a place for 10 years, and once I had enough notes where I can start in my own self-sufficiency, now that's what I did. I'm doing that, and it's very hard. My Moabite, she rather me have a regular job, but I'd rather, you know, fight nail and tooth to do what I got to do to make sure that, you know, I still have my home. We living. Nobody's complaining about nothing and stuff like that. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle, and I'm glad my Moabite, you know, stuck with me through the whole thing because it wasn't like working where everybody else has a regular job. You're gonna get that check every Friday or whatnot. I know sometimes, but because you know what we know. Like I said, for me, I'm not materialistic. You know, I'm not saying people are not. I'm not saying other people are materialistic, but for me, I'm like, all I want is something to eat, and I'm fine. I got enough clothes for the rest of my life. I got my sneakers, my boots. I'm good. I don't need nothing extra. I'm not growing no more. I'm not going to need any new clothes. So that's how I look at it. You know, everything, if I need something, it's going to go to my son. I already know. That's how I look at everything. So it makes stuff easier doing it that way. But that's how I do it. You know, with my seasonings and, you know, making my herbs and stuff like that. Like, because everybody is trying to do their healthiness. So that is a good thing to have right now under our belt. You know, as Moors, that's what we already know. We already know about the spices and everything. So why not get in tune with your ancestors and get back to the same things that they was doing years back and master that again and be back to being what was it, a martyr? No, bartering? I forgot the title of it. But it's not business. It's like being like a trader or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I really don't want to keep dealing with those Federal Reserve notes. Only reason why we deal with them is because it's threat, duress, and corrosion. That's how I like to look at those Federal Reserve notes too. You know, because you know it's hard. You know, knowing what we know and still having to, you know, activate and do and live out here and stuff like that. Because, but it's going to be us that's going to have to change it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, if there's other Moors that's doing something, you know, like, you know, got fruits and vegetables or something like that, and they want to trade food or stuff, but we got to do that amongst each other. We can't keep going to the little grocery stores that they have for us just to go shopping and stuff like that. And once you get away from that, you won't even have to. Your self-sufficiency will be how you live, and that'll be basically your notes. It's your self-sufficiency. How are you trading? What you got for me to live off of? Because I have this. And you won't, you know, when we get to that point, I know we far from it because these people is not doing nothing to give up their job. Everybody going to work. Everybody going to work. Ain't nothing wrong with working. I'm just saying, working for yourself. We're not doing that as a people. We're not working for us as Moors. We still working to keep colonizing here in Morocco.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to like working towards now. Like, because I work like how you mentioned earlier, how your son, like, he's bored at school. Is like I go to work and I work for a bank, and knowing what I know about mortgaging and stuff, is like I'm bored at work. It's just like I know the truth, but I can't. I gotta be quiet.
Yep.
Like,
see that?
I know like everything that's going on. I know the conspiracy, everything that's going on, but I gotta just be quiet and sit here and just be quiet and just go along with the host, because like this is right now. This is what put food on the table for my child for us to eat. Will keep roof over our head. So it's like I'm just going to like go to work and like, boy, just try to, like you say, right now I've been trying to do, like you say, herbal medicines and trying to learn, like going back and grow food and stuff like that. And in my area, it's like I don't really kind of have no boys in my territory to kind of like connect with, like. So it kind of be kind of hard to kind of get together, like you said, get together and be able to trade and barter. Like if I get herbs or somebody else like need clothes or something, like we can trade. But I don't have nobody next. And then with my family, like I said, they all think I'm just like crazy. If I say anything more to them, they be like, "Oh, there she go with that more stuff. There she go with that more stuff." And I be like, "You are a more. Like this is not more stuff." Like, are a word. Like I got a dictionary in the back of my car, and I literally try to get them to read the definition of the word black. They won't even read it. Yeah. Like it's crazy.
I don't want you put your name out there and anything yet, but one of the Moors were asking if is it true about the Title 12 dealing with banking, and that's what's being used for the banking institutions or whatever. Or are you familiar with Title 12? I
can't hear you anymore.
Please, you hear me? Well, they're trying to.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, it went out. It went out. And of course, I didn't hear
all right. Your question. Brother Yusuf, you there? All right. I'm just checking. All right. Yeah, one of the Moors in the chat was asking about Title 12 and banking. United States Code Title 12 and banking, if you had any information on or any competency on that.
No, not really. I haven't really. I wasn't seeing anything. I was on the mortgage side.
Oh, okay.
I don't really have.
Now even okay, so even on that level, is it hard for you dealing with it based on the information that you're finding out? And because I hit that wall when I used to do collections, and
oh yeah,
and you know the same thing, the moral aspect of it, you know, starts to raise the more information that you have or the more truth that you have, you know. So is it a challenge dealing with it as far as where you're at and the knowledge that you're getting?
It's very, like you said, it weighs on me morally. Like I really honestly can't even feel like I can really like live by my 5 principles because what I know because I work in the foreclosure bankruptcy department. So I have individuals coming, calling in, crying multiple times about how their home is going into foreclosure, and we're taking them. And it's like I know the background of what's going on. Like I know all foreclosures are unlawful. Like mortgage is just dead pledge. So it just like it kills me because like when I be on the phone with the customer, I be wanting to tell them like, go reread the contract. Like I be wanting to like let them know the truth, but I can't.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's to a point to where now where I'm trying to get myself together where I can just go ahead and be self-sufficient because keep going in there knowing what I know, it's not, like you said, it weighs on my conscience. Like, I feel bad for the people. Like, I feel like I'm working against the people. If I know the truth, and yet I go in every day clocking in instead of just collecting all these funds for these foreclosures.
Right. I hear that.
This is why nationality is the order of the day. Because this is what she just said, an example. But if everybody is getting the information, you see what I mean? Like, she know she not Negro, colored, black. Her nationality is a Moor. And with her studying, she's gotten to the level she's at. You know, but that's the thing. If everybody knows their nationality and have her mindset, you know, then stuff starts tumbling down just because we're off of morals. You know, like, I can't keep doing this, you know? So like she said, she's working on trying to get out of there. And, you know, like, so that the thing is, everyone starts getting this information, starts being self-sufficient because of morally, I can't keep doing it. Just like, for example, I had to leave. That's why I left. Another reason why I left my job was because my nephew, because it was a warehouse for McDonald's. My nephew, my sister who told me I was a Moor, her son, he went to McDonald's or whatever. And she's like, no, you can't have McDonald's. He's like, well, why can't I have McDonald's? Uncle Yusuf works there, like at the warehouse. He delivers the food. If it's so bad, why does my uncle work there? That's another reason why I stopped going back, because morally, like, I can't keep feeding people silicone and French fries, talking about these 100% potatoes. Like, I know there's silicone in those French fries. You know, I couldn't morally. I knew I couldn't keep sending that off. So, like, that's where she proven nationality is the order of the day. Because when everybody wake up and get this information, morally, you have to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing. And that's another, like you said earlier, that's another reason why adults don't want to get it. Because when they get it, these situations happen. You see how now you have to go be self-sufficient and all of that? Like, you put this on you now. They don't want that responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Glad she brought that up.
That's great.
Yeah. it's hard, but yeah, it's very hard. But I think when I put my name for my name correction at the job, the day I put it in and it came out, we have like the CEO who's at our office. He's like one of the top notch. He never, I didn't see his name most. I've been with the company for about 4 years. He's never put me on in the same day. Never, not one time, walked by my desk. That day that I got my new title plate with my new name correction, him and about 3 other supervisors came. Like, they probably did this like discreetly, but I noticed they came over and it was looking like trying to see who am I, and it was looking at my name change, my name correction on my desk.
Oh, and you want to talk about
you got your name correction on your desk? Mm-hmm. That's big time. That's big time right there. That's big time.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. That's big time right there. I know, because that's a nervous step. I know it was. You know what I mean? So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Mom to that.
Could you talk about the situation with, was it your uncle? With the dark group? Yeah, talk about the dark group.
Okay. So he ended up, he had a car, he had a car, he was doing exercise, just like the traveler. He was traveling back and forth to work. He never, I guess what his mistake, or I say our mistake was that we didn't put out any notices. So we didn't even put any notices to put up on notices by anything. So they ended up one night, they arrested him. It was like, because he worked late and he was coming from the beach. So it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. They ended up pulling him over, arrested him, took him downtown. He stayed down there. They like made his like just for driving, because his VIN number on the car was actually registered in his straw name. So that's how they was able to put him, because when he gave him his ID, they wouldn't put him in the system as Hassan. So they got the VIN number off his car and seen that it was in his straw name, and that's how they put him in the system and seen that he had already had suspended license. So they locked him up on driving with a suspended license. So we ended up finding him out, getting him out just because he ended up having to go back to work the next day, and he didn't want to lose his job. So we ended up finding him out, going back to work. The next, they gave him a court date for I think that next week after he got out. Me and him both went on RV publications. He went in, got his little wrist. I told him how he had to send them in. So he kept going back. The court dates, I was unable to go with him to these court dates because I was working. But I know he just kept saying that they kept just pushing the court date every time they kept going in. They were saying we received your wrist, but they just kept pushing the court date, kept pushing over. On October 1st, I was like, okay, I'm going to go with you. We're going to go, we're going to keep going on. Went to the courtroom. It was completely dark. Like, no one was there. The judge, like, okay, what's going on? Like, I noticed the room where you're supposed to be at. So once you go downtown to the bailiff, they handed the papers, and they was like, oh, yeah, they dropped the charges. Case dismissed. And I was like, wow. And we were so excited. We came home telling my mom, everybody, like, look, charges dropped. It was like, oh, so it do work.
It do work.
Yeah,
it do work. Right.
It do work.
That's right.
That's live. That's what's up.
Ain't standing there arguing. I ain't gonna be sitting there arguing with this highwayman. As soon as you do what you do, when I go home, I'm gonna send these writs, and everything gonna fall into place. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yep. Yeah, bro.
That's simple.
And it was funny because when he got arrested, my grandma called. It wasn't funny at the time, but she called me in the middle of the morning. She was like, she was crying, and she was like, you gonna get my son deported with all that Moorish stuff and all that. I'm like, what? Come on, what are you talking about? I didn't understand what she was saying. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, he done got arrested because he ain't had no driver's license. I was like, okay, ma, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got this. It's gonna be under control. And like when he got out and I told her the charges I tried, I was like, come on, what you got to say now? And she was just like, yeah. Like she couldn't, like, she didn't have no rebuttal. Like,
Nothing.
No rebuttal.
Nothing. They'll say something crazy. Maybe they was closed.
Yeah. Closed on the day the Moor goes there. They just happen to be closed.
It was dark. I wonder what that was about. They were just closed. They said, we not open. No, we not open right now.
Yeah.
Nationality order of the day.
Can't go wrong with that. You got any other questions, Mother?
No, I don't have any more questions right now that I can think of.
All right.
They helped me with a lot of information.
That's perfect.
Especially with the school information. That was very helpful.
Oh, Islam. No problem. I did a lot of that is from Army Day publications. All Army Day. Just listening to the mothers, especially to the mothers. I love listening to them because they have you ready to go. Ready to go. Mother and me to have you ready to go. Ready to go. Can't nobody tell you nothing about your children. That's your child. And I was like, that's right. That's right. That's right. Can't nobody. But Europeans do it all the time. They homeschool their children all the time. But I don't know why I don't know why it's in our mind like we're gonna have these issues. I don't know why.
I think it's because that's how we was brought up. Like I was brought up raised like I had to go to school, and so it's like when you have teachers around you telling you that you have to go to school, and like they be asking me like, well, if she don't go to school, how she gonna get a job, or who gonna recognize her? And I'd be like, it wouldn't be no United States if it was like if it wasn't for the like. It's not that we need them to recognize us. So, and I think that's how, and then that's why my programming came in, because like I say, I was brought up written to school. I never taught homeschool, and I don't really know nobody that go to homeschool. So my mind frame was, okay, if I have to send her there, I want to send her there, but I want to make sure I send her there on the correct status and not Negro color and that.
Right. Because when you put them on, when you put the proper people on notice, though, it ain't even gonna be. It's easy. It's exactly the same way you did the writs with your uncle. Same way it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same way. Nothing changed.
Just different subject matter, but same process.
Yep. And I never even got a rebuttal back. They're not gonna respond. They don't even respond. And then you just give them default judgment. Send them one of those, like, okay, I know I gave you 5 to 7 days to respond. You didn't even respond. Everything I put in that writ, I'm basically going to give it in a brief and say that it stands as law. You know, everybody that was supposed to be put on notice is put on notice. And now let's go. You know, now let's go. Let's see what y'all want to do. Because that's, like the mother said, that's my child. And I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my child.
Yep.
Everything. Like the mother who the conveyance fell on her baby, and she lifted the conveyance up. Lift the whole conveyance up off of her baby. The mother is the most powerful in the world. Yeah, I ain't gonna never let that happen to your babies. Never.
Straight up. Yeah, yo, they're about to go nuts. It sounds upstairs. So peace and love to all the Moors. Islam, mother, for the build. Brother Yusuf, give thanks, bro.
Islam.
Appreciate the build.
Thank you.
Well, no worries, sis. Anytime. And we'll obviously keep in touch.
Okay.
Islam, sis, give thanks.
Islam. Thanks for all. Thanks to all you on the chat. Thank you.
Islam, no worries. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam.